This video dives into the principles and steps of remediation guidelines for true pricing. In Part 1, we talked about what is the true price, how it is used, and how it relates to remediation. If you missed it, make sure to watch Part 1. Now, let's get into it. Remediation is first of all based on 4 principles. 1. Materiality, which means money should be spent focusing on the real main issues and not any topic. 2. Effectiveness, to reach positive impact goals. 3. Transparency, on finances and on progress. 4. Engagement, as true pricing should be based on cooperation. Based on these principles, true price funds can only be sent on initiatives that have 5 key elements. High-level goals linked to true price results, measurable positive impact objectives, clear governance structure, clear financial structure, monitoring and evaluation. For example, imagine there is a coffee brand, let's call it Fair Coffee, that wants to help the farmers they source from to reduce as much as possible their social and environmental externalities. First, Fair Coffee runs a true price assessment to see what the biggest damages are in its supply chain. In this case, let's pretend that it is discovered that among the biggest externalities of the farmers the brand buys from, loss of biodiversity and soil fertility are very prominent. Therefore, Fair Coffee decides to help the farmers improve these 2 aspects. This is what we call high-level goals linked to true price results. Next, Fair Coffee sets a set of measurable impact objectives. It decides that over the next few years, it wants to reduce loss of biodiversity and soil fertility by 20%. To achieve this goal, Fair Coffee decided to start an agroforestry project, which is planting taller trees between the coffee plants. Once grown, these trees will store carbon, help to improve the soil, and be a habitat for birds and insects. Then, Fair Coffee needs to decide how important decisions are taken in this initiative and what the legal structure is. Who should be involved to achieve these goals? This is taking into account the governance structure. In this case, let's pretend it's a short supply chain, and the coffee brand just needs to coordinate with the farmers and the cooperatives. In this example, the financial structure is also relatively easy. The coffee brand implements true prices in its store and adjusts margins to finance agroforestry projects. Finally, to see if the set goals are being achieved, Fair Coffee sets up a monitoring system to track the progress in restoring biodiversity and soil fertility. The reports are then shared yearly with the consumers to show how true price payments funds are having an impact. This is a simplified example of what we call in our guidelines direct remediation. Direct remediation means that there is work directly done to reduce the social and environmental costs in a supply chain. Our guidelines distinguish this from indirect remediation. When a company finances other organizations and projects that address social and environmental issues, but do not directly engage their supply chain, for example because the company is too small or the chain is not traceable. True price payments help to fund much-needed action to reduce environmental and social problems in the economy. Nonetheless, this is just one part of the solution, and not the end goal of true price. We believe a true price economy is possible, where the rules of the game, regulations, and industry standards change to finally close the gap between market prices and true prices. Although there is still a long way to go, we believe that fair and feasible guidelines for true price payments brings us a step closer to a new economy. Get in touch if you want to know more, and download now our remediation guidelines.